When I wave the detector over it, it's coming up 91. This might be a super deep old silver coin. What is going on, everyone, and welcome to the video. I hope you're all having a fantastic day out there. Very simple intro for this video. I met up with Jerry to do some metal detecting in my neck of the woods today. It's been a while since we've met up and metal detected, as I haven't been out much this year, and we got on some good stuff pretty quick, so I think you're going to enjoy the video. This is our metal detecting hunt, about five and a half hours out in the Tennessee humidity in the middle of August, but we've had a ton of rain recently. A very wet middle of the summer for this time of the year, but I guess it's not too out of the ordinary considering we had a really dry spring. Just a bit odd, but we had a ton of rain. Both of us really wanted to get out, so it was time to do some digging. Here's what we found. It was a good time. Looking in the back corner of this field of the skull in no man's land, hoping for some old relics or something to show us the age in this section of the property. And got a really solid 85-86 signal right there that didn't sound like aluminum. I'm going to take it over into the shade because sun's really blazing right now. It's got 2 holes in it, so I don't know if this is some type of token or dog tag. Hopefully not trash. It could just be trash, actually. It could be blank. Let me clean it up a bit, and if there's anything on it, I'll get back at you. Alright, well that was a bit of a bear to clean up. You can see there's a corrosion blob right on the last section of the date there, but it does turn out to be a dog tag, so that's a welcome find. It appears to be from 1971. And it was a couple inches down, and that was a really good signal. So maybe nobody's detected in this back corner here really well. So let's see if we can get us on an older relic or coin. That is a pretty good start to the day. Just looking in the front of the property, I picked up 2 modern dimes and a zinc penny that were pretty shallow. So we'll add that to the pouch and continue on. Alrighty, so I locked onto a pretty good signal here. It's just kind of back over by the fence there, maybe 4 yards away, where I found that 1971 dog tag, so I focused my efforts around here in the back corner of the property where there's been very little ground shifting and hopefully not as much modern day traffic. It seems like this strategy paid off. I got a signal that was bouncing in the low 80s. Kind of sounded like it could be an old coin, and I got a coin here down about 4 inches in the clay. It's in my plug, 3 to 4 inches. It looks very green. I hope this is an old wheat cent. It's definitely very corroded from being in that hard-packed clay. But if this is a wheat penny, this is the first old coin I found on public property in a very long time. Boy, that thing is gnarly and toasted. I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be a wheat cent from the 40s or 50s. It doesn't look like one of the thin older ones, but man, that thing is just annihilated. So if I can pull a date or give a positive ID, I'll let you know. Well, it looks like it's just going to be a Blobius Maximus, but I'm pretty sure it's a wheat cent. I can see remnants in the back there. It looks like where it was 1 cent in the center, and I think I saw the 3rd digit of the date popping through right about there. I think it's a 194 something. I think this is a 1940s penny, probably 1944 or 45. Those are extremely common. But man, that thing is bubbled and all crusty. But maybe it's got a silver friend close by. Well, I worked my way over into the shade by the fence line, the fence line way back here on the property. And I haven't dug a single nickel signal yet. You can tell this massive skull has been cherry picked over the years because there's just a lot of garbage tones left, a lot of shallow trash and signals from foil and nickel the whole way up to just kind of like zinc range. Not a lot of coin-like signals. And this is the first signal in the nickel range I decided to dig, even though it looks like there was some groundwork done here. It almost looks like some of that newer, I call it puffy grass planted, but got about 2 inches down into that clay because this one sounded too perfect of a nickel. And you can see that edge right there. I don't know if that's going to be an old nickel because in this clay, even the coins from like the 70s and 80s probably could corrode really bad. But I'm going to take it over to Jerry and we're going to bust it out. Hey Jerry, you're talking about an old nickel.
No way.
Well, I don't know if this is old, but this sounded a little bit deeper over there by the fence, so I'll show you the edge here and then I'm going to pop it. Hopefully it's not a corroded newer one. It rang up perfect 58.
Ooh.
So we'll bust out. It was right over there by the fence.
Maybe a buff or something.
I hope it's not just a corroded new nickel. Man, it's crusty, whatever it is. That is a buffalo.
Yes. Good job.
Awesome.
Awesome, man. That way it worth the stop.
Yep. Crazy. You can definitely see the buffalo on it there. That's the Indian side with the feather tip right there.
I have a nice deep high tone.
Oh, sweet.
Nice and tight.
Hey, well, we'll do this live, and if it turns out to be a dud, I can always cut it out if I want to. There's some deep copper bits in here too. While Jerry's digging that, I'll show here. I just wanted to test a super deep signal that was non-ferrous, and I dug out this massive piece of copper a few minutes ago down in the clay. It took me a while to get to and pull it out. That's about $2 worth of copper right there. Well, that deep in the clay, if that's a coin, that's going to be like a $50, right?
It's tight right there.
Well, hey, there could definitely be some silver in here for sure. I mean,
come on, be at least.
I just got a buffalo right up against the fence there, and the areas where people, don't swing as much, especially mixed in with all this trash. I hear it. It's right down there. I hope you got a walker in there. Yeah, it's right on the side there. Even if it's coal relic from the skull, that'd be awesome.
See roundness. Oh no!
Big old bottle cap?
No, it's one of those, I think an old light bulb bottom, isn't it? Or is it a cap?
I think it's a cap. Oh, that's an old, like a distiller cap or something, probably a...
Who's down there?
Hey, that's old trash though.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah, I think that's to a cap to like a super old beer bottle or something.
Yeah, this is the oldest stuff up in this area.
Yeah, we need to keep working this area here. It's where all the old stuff's coming.
Oh man.
Here is a look at the buffalo nickel cleaned up, and yes, that is it cleaned up. Really gnarly from being in the clay, turned almost like a nuclear green, and it's very worn. There is no date on it. It doesn't have the mound on the reverse. You can see it's flat there. So this is a type 2 buffalo nickel, and it's going to be from somewhere between 1913 and 1938. I will say normally when you find them slick like this, not only is it really dirty, you can tell it's really slicked out too. Generally when you find them slick like this, they're usually from the teens up to the mid 1920s most of the time, probably 80 to 90% of the time. So that would be, my guess on the date range is probably somewhere between 1913 and 1925. Pretty cool find. So way in the corner by these bushes, I just got a clad dime from 2001. It just goes to show you, on this gigantic property, even on the back corner by the cornfields, if you can see them back there, there's stuff back here. And I had like a 2 to 3 inch penny signal here. I thought it sounded a little bit deeper than the other stuff I've been finding in here. Look at it packed in here. Jerry thought he had an old nickel. He had a shotgun head stamp, and now he got an old rifle casing. So there's definitely even old relics back here from when this would have been just more so farmland. I think I got an old penny here though. It rang up in the low 80s, so probably a wheat cent. But packed down in there in that little bit of gravel and clay. and I can see Lincoln's head on there, so we know it's not going to be an Indian, but with how green that is, I'm almost certain that's a wheat penny. But very mineralized soil here, so anything non-silver is going to come out in terrible condition. But I'll inspect it later. I think that's old coin number 3. Well, I tried to get a date. It's another Blobius maximus. The wheat pennies generally from the 40s and 50s turn more of a red and green color when they're corroded. I used to call these the Christmas special. So I'm almost 100% certain that's a 1940s or 50s wheat penny. But it is another old coin. Oh, I can tell it's a wheat for certain from the back. You can see the 1 cent shining through. So old coin number 3. Sweet. All right, guys. My gut was telling me to do this live, but of course I talked myself out of it. I had a solid signal here that certain directions was just coming in slightly higher than a copper penny. But then again, it's kind of hard to tell. That's a normal range for copper, but here it seems the copper coins are ringing up a little lower than normal. So it was ringing up like bouncing between 82 and 86 on the T2, which can also be a clad dime, but had such a good signal. And of course the sun just came out. Dug my plug here, and I cracked the clay open here, split my plug. And I don't know if you can see down in that crack. Probably not with the shadows right now, but I split it open and I'm pretty sure I see a silver dime there. And then in this thick clay on the back of the property, the coins just aren't sinking. It's literally a ½ inch under the ground. So I'm going to pop this live for everyone. Let's block the sun there. You can see it here. I can see the band on the reverse. It is a Mercury dime. And oh, look at that. Let me focus in on this. It's got an S mint mark. We got it band side up. So that's really cool. Let's pull it out. Don't really want to rub it. Looks like the relief is pretty high. I'd probably say this is a coin from the early 40s, but I'll clean it up and show it later. That is an awesome find back here. So we got an old penny, an old nickel, an old dime. Let's get this silver quarter next. A look at that 90% silver Mercury dime cleaned up. Turns out it is a 1943. A little bit of wear, but not too bad. It was nice to pull a silver coin out of that clay, considering all of the copper and nickel coins were absolutely trashed. So when you get a bit of silver, it's always still in good condition, and thankfully no staining on this one. A little bit of detail on the bands. You can see the San Francisco mint mark. And that is an old gouge on it there on the side, that old rim slice. It's not fresh, so I didn't put that in there, but is what it is. Still a pretty cool coin. So yes, it finally happened. That was my first silver coin found metal detecting in 2020. I took a break from YouTube and wasn't doing a lot of digging, and when I was metal detecting, it was up in the woods looking for home sites, or it was, doing Civil War hunting. I just haven't been door knocking and doing the urban permissions this year for many various reasons. So it was nice to finally get on the board with silver. Now let's see if we can end the year getting at least into double digits, because way back in the day, I used to do a ton of urban digging, and my best year in 2015, I dug 265 silver coins. So one, it seems a little bit measly. We gotta at least get us to 10. I'm gonna try anyway, so stay tuned. All right, I locked onto another decent signal here about 5 minutes later. This one doesn't look as crusty, but it is an 1.5 inches down, so I'm not sure. Well, I just uncovered it there when I swiped it. 1974 copper cent, so moving on. Well, this is simply too funny not to film. I'm still working this fence line down by the fence in behind, whereas there's the modern day playground, thinking way here on the edge. There could still be some old stuff buried. I don't know if this is old. I thought it might just be trash, so had a solid nickel signal. I'm like, it's just a piece of an aluminum can, which always rings up like a nickel. I pulled up the piece of aluminum, so the plug, you gotta figure, would have been inverted. So this would have been on the bottom. It's a nickel sitting on a piece of aluminum. Now that I look at this, I don't think this nickel's too incredibly old, but it's funny that it was sitting on top of Can's Law. It got me a double nickel signal, but yeah, that one's not old. 2002, 2 for the price of 1. All right, here's a couple of Jerry's finds. We've been here maybe a little over an hour so far, and we think that might be a bird band. We're not sure. It's kind of crude, and he did get one of the Christmas special green and red 1940s or 50s Wheaties, just annihilated, kind of like mine. And actually his might have a little more detail, but he also got an old lipstick tube I'll show later. So it's slim pickings here, but if we're in the middle of nowhere, we can't imagine how many old coins used to be on this property, you know, back in the 1960s and 70s maybe, when people started metal detecting this, because for a rural school in Tennessee, the fact that we found between us 5 old coins back in this section, quite a ways from the school, shows us this was quite the happening spot back in the day. To be finding a few oldies back here in 2020 is pretty awesome. Alrighty, so I decided to work this little row of grass tailings. Makes it a little harder to swing, because this is the section where we've been finding the old stuff. Between here, a little bit over from that tree, and all around this way is where all the old stuff has come. Had a coin signal down here, and about almost 2 inches down in this hard packed clay, you can see the edge of a disc there. It looks like it's going to be a penny. It has that red and green look, so it's a memorial, but it's probably one of the, hopefully one of the older ones. Actually, the relief looks pretty low. I think it's just going to be a 1969 to 1982, somewhere in that range. But hey, it's a coin. So moving into the next clip, we changed locations because we couldn't find any more old targets in that little hot spot we found at the 1897 skull. So after Jerry door knocked a house and didn't get an answer, we actually found another bit of public property that we weren't aware of. It was behind what looks to be an old skull from the architecture, I would say, built around 1920, but in a very old area. And today, behind it, all it is just like a little walking track that was put in, and they tore a bunch of old equipment out and maybe some structures, but all that's there now is pretty much just a small fire department, and they use the old building as like a police department and some other various things. So we gave it a shot, and we found some cool stuff, so we stuck it out. Here's what we found. Okay, we moved locations. We've been scouting for about 20 minutes around behind what appears to be an old skull. It's just public property now that's used as like a park around the fire department. And it's a lot of junk in here, and we think a lot of fill dirt. There's a lot of areas that we think used to be part of an old playground. And a spot that has eluded me in the past. I've never found this before. And Jerry got a really deep signal here and just pulled out a semi-key date. Or it might not go to call it that rare, but it's at least uncommon. It's a 1915 Denver wheat penny. So that might be worth a few dollars there. That's a pretty cool find. It was super deep. He had me test the signal. And now that we pulled this out, we're going to stick around a bit longer. Sweet find, Jerry.
Thanks.
Well, we're not finding too much at this location, but there are signals, and there's a lot of old material in these holes from years and years of probably doing work on the buildings and tearing things down and shifting ground around. But here I just got a relic. This looks to be a piece of the hammer off of an old toy cap gun. Rang up pretty good. This is brass. That right here would be, let's get it situated right here, is the trigger. Pull that back like that. So yeah, that's a piece of a cap gun. So yeah, pretty sure this was used as a schoolyard down here. And I did get a cool piece of china a minute ago that was just in the hole with some junk. Has some red coloring on it. So yeah, old stuff in the ground here. Now this area goes back to around the 1850s, so no telling what could be down here. Well, right there I had a fairly deep signal, cutting in and out a little bit, but when it hit good. There's definitely a couple oldies locked down in this location. Check it out right there. I can't really see through the viewfinder much, but I can tell the coin's showing up well in the sun. I just pulled me a 1926 wheat cent. So considering Jerry's was 1915 and 26, we're in the range of standing Liberty coins and the late end of Barbers. So since we only pulled out 2 old coins and they're both about 100 years old, we're definitely going to stick it out and listen for really deep signals. Some old stuff locked down in here. We're going to work for some more. Well, we're definitely locked into a decent area here. We're going to have to grid this in between where we found these 3 coins. Jerry had a nice high tone here. pulled this little nail out of the hole, said there's no way that was the signal. And had us both excited for a second. It looks really worn and tarnished. So we thought it might be like an old barber coin. It's a silver Roosevelt, but hey, it's silver, and now Jerry's on the board. I can't see the last digit. It's 1940 something. Oh, it's really messed up. I'm just gonna rub it. I know you don't care.
It's a Rosie. Rub it. Rub it, Rosie.
I think it's gonna be no, it's not a first year. It's a 48, but it's super slick and really stained. You can tell this area holds a lot of water. But hey, congrats on the silver. Nice one.
Take it. Number 16 on the year.
Number 1 for me. That one earlier today was literally my first silver of the year. I'm slacking. All right, Jerry just dug a mason jar lid with the insert still in it. We're actually in an area that's behind a house that looks like it was built sometime probably around the 1850s. So I'm assuming the mason jar lid he found is from that old house. But I had an incredibly deep signal here that rang in good on both of our detectors. We weren't sure if it was deep flat iron, but we knew it could be a deep coin. I'm into my plug here, and the signal got really good. I see the dark soil like a coin's gonna pop out. Question is...
That's a coin. What is it? Is that a nickel?
No, it's a penny. Rang up high, so I think it's gonna be a wheat cent. Yeah, it's actually a newer wheat cent, but
might be something in there.
That was way down there. There's a lot of those like river landscaping rocks and random materials in here. Oh look, there's some like pot metal.
Oh, okay.
Little shards of decomposing pot metal in the hole too. So unfortunately, when we got that signal, I thought it could be like a super deep old silver coin. But there you go, it's a 1942. It's another old coin for the pouch. Having a pretty good day. It's been so long since I found old stuff on public property, so 2 sites in a row that are putting out oldies that's on public ground. It goes to show you, there's still some of it out there. You just got to get over it. Okay, baking in the sun. I haven't really filmed for probably about 40 minutes. Had a really deep signal here. Wasn't sure if it was going to be a super deep silver coin. We both agreed it was a good sound. I've been digging down in this clay and all this rocky material. All this has been moved around a lot. I pulled out like this blob of concrete or something out of the hole and a little piece of glass, and man, that's got to be like 9 inches. There's something right here. I don't know if that's the rim of a silver quarter for its junk. But way down in the bottom there, we got something poking out. It's really hot. I'm just gonna pop it if I can. I'm gonna have to get behind it with the shovel. You got your hand digger on you?
Yeah.
Let me borrow that a second so I don't have to put this whole foot shovel in the hole. It might be too big because it doesn't want to pry with my finger. So I'm gonna try to go in behind it here. Whatever it is, it's packed. Oh, I've loosened it. It is small. Oh.
Oh no.
I guess I sliced the side of a... Yep.
Yeah, give me my...
Right like that. Oh, I get you every time. Well, a minute ago, Jerry pulled out a 1944 wheat penny and got this odd piece. We're not sure exactly what it's from. He said possibly like an airplane or something. It appears to be lead. We'll have to clean that up later. That's a peculiar piece anyway. I like it. All right, everyone. We're gonna do this one live while Jerry's coming over here. I had a really deep, faint signal down here. I dug down probably about 9 inches in the soft soil right by the intersection. I wanted to see if we can find anything really deep in the section. We haven't found anything good on this side of the property. So I pulled this ball out under a root. So I pulled this ball out under that root, and I knew it was a very small signal in there, so I didn't think it was going to be trash. When I waved the detector over it, it's coming up 91. This might be a super deep old silver coin. I'm hoping. Let's bust it out of here. I mean, of course, it could be modern silver, but if it is at all, what is that?
What is that?
I think it's a Great Seal button.
No way.
That's still really cool. That's definitely a Great Seal button. That's a big one. That's a coat button. Whew. I thought it was going to be a silver quarter.
Better than Washington.
Oh, that's a big one. Still got the shank on it. This is probably, this one looks World War II-ish. That's sweet relic though. It's been a long time since I found one of these. Then again, the silver quarters, I think, a solid 93 in the T2, so that was like between a dime and a quarter. But hey, we'll take that all day. That was deep down in there, soft soil, so we may need to crank up the sensitivity and hit this little corner a second. Nice. So this great seal button cleaned up really nice, just doesn't do it justice on my railing because the backdrop is about the same color as the button. But it's in really good shape. This was found in a section that was a more rich, dark soil, so it didn't really corrode all that much. I will be able to clean out all those little nooks and crannies with a brush. I should be able to get most of that out of there. But it's just your typical Scoville Manufacturing Company and Waterbury backmark, which is pretty standard for these great seal buttons. It's got the nice complete shank on it. I didn't look into this one too much, but looking at the design based on ones I've found in the past, I'm pretty certain this is from around World War II, give or take a little bit. So that's an awesome button. Thought I had me onto a silver quarter, but hey, this is an awesome relic to dig any day. Well, I didn't show it when we were in the sun earlier. Jerry pulled one or two more wheats out that I didn't film, both from the 40s. And right here, kind of where this old section is, we're not sure what used to be here, but at least remnants of a playground for certain, and other things. Right down there, about 5 inches, he just popped a 1934 wheat cent. I think we got a weedy from like every decade out of here. We hit the teens, the 20s, the 30s, and for sure the 40s, and I think you got one from the 50s, right?
And the teens.
We're all over the board. We just need an Indian now. That's sweet. And before Jerry takes off looking through his bag of crap there, I wanted to show this. He found this right before we bailed in the last place because we were getting hot and it was time to go. But he got a piece of a little toy Derringer, it looks like there. I think it's the Nichols brand. And this one had a lot of fancy on it. It looks like some sort of enameling. But that is pretty cool there. You can see the end there. This is definitely Nichols brand. I found the complete Derringer like this several years ago, and I believe it was like 1962, something around in there. So pretty cool to find in that old schoolyard. Alright guys, so that's going to be the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm going to take a long shot here to end out the video from behind my HVAC. Get away from me. It's going to be a long bomb. This is the first attempt. If it goes in, you have to subscribe. If not, then whatever. Let's go. Ah! No! Oh. And of course it hit my car. You can never end on a miss. So here's the long bomb from standing on the hood of my 96 Honda Civic, one-handed with the camera. Let's go. Oh yeah.